All right, we are approaching June 2026. Coming to you from Salida, Colorado. I was here 11 years ago. Drove through town, made a video, and profiled it as a place of potential positivity. Now, that was 11 years ago. Salida is a major tourist destination, but I don't believe that it is well known on the world stage, and that's a good thing, right? So it's a fairly low population, and there is some positivity here. However, a lot of the big city politics and mind control and social engineering is very prevalent here with people that would actually see themselves as rebels. But in fact, it's more of a front or a mask or an image as opposed to something that is an authentic rebel against the system in mind, body, and spirit, which I represent. So I'm going to be writing a lot of books here, but they're likely to not be read by locals. But they will be read by others in other places in the United States where they do have the intellectual, spiritual, and intuitive capability to look me in the eyes. These humans have an allergy. And it's the same thing in Texas. It's the same thing in Portland, where I'm from, where I was on the air for many, many years. And I'm going to basically, in this short 15-minute video, going to give you an overview of my time here without deviating into solar flares, World War III, China, genocide, racial issues. So the basics are this. It's not actually in my best interest to drink 8 beers like I did last night, but that is for a reason. Okay, so let's get into it. I can go over here where they have like a sale coming up at 8 o'clock. And I'll be like, is there a sale coming up here at 8 o'clock? She'll be like, oh, does the sign say that? Oh. And she's like, she's like mocking me just because she's bored. There is a nihilism here, even though it's a small town, that is above and beyond major cities. You know what I mean? So the whole idea of competition for space, I don't like you, I want to keep it all white, that type of a thing, it's scary. And they're really quick to call the cops when anybody masculine is around them, because everybody around them is basically like a girly man. And I could be a short dude at 5'6" who's like stronger than their boyfriend at 7 foot tall. That's what's creepy about this. The love of people that are just tall and feminine and weak, who don't do podcasts, who don't expose human trafficking like I do. And that's what this comes down to. 22 years of talking about our future, the plight of women's safety, and knowing that it actually upsets them, that I am that way, that I make content, that I talk about what's in the news. And even if my mother hates me, so if my mom hates me and she's white, and she married someone else who wasn't white, and the world doesn't like me, even though I'm psychic and I'm right about everything that I've said, then we're dealing with people that may have made soul agreements with the dark side to hurt their kids, to make sure that they don't have a dad in their life, to make sure that they don't learn discipline, to basically get in trouble. And that's what happened to me. But I was smart enough to get myself out of trouble in my early 20s. You know, it was a very short process of being controlled by her, being thrown away by her at age 14, and then by a lot of other women, and then getting in trouble, and then by being psychic and spiritual and learning about the solar flares, I fixed myself. And in this environment here, they will not help people. They actually have mental illness. They think that help's available. No. Once you start talking about racial issues, these people like start shaking and stuff like they're about to start urinating, like they're being attacked. You're not being attacked unless there's something that I'm saying that applies to you. And that's what it is. It applies to them. It applies to their thinking. So they'll take the truth frequency, they'll be offended by it, and they'll call the cops. And the cops are now hip to it, that they're abusing the cop system. And yet these people claim to not be in support of criminal cops. They claim to not be Republicans. But actually, there was a lady right out here the other day when I needed a jump. The only lady who ever talked to me here, she led me to a website here that's called Free Speech Salida. It's a bunch of Trump tards in there. So isn't that interesting? That people that claim to be left-leaning and inclusive are actually not. And in some cases, it's shocking. I do not like Trump people. I do not like Republicans. But it's amazing how they'll tolerate my masculinity and intelligence more than the others, and yet I'm diverse racially. It's really weird. But what can be said is that things are not as they appear. The other day I was over here and I was just sitting in my car and a lady came by and started honking at me. I wasn't even in her lane. So that was mental illness, that's unchecked. And so you have a bunch of people that are popping off that are in this region that are not actually grateful to be here. That's what I would say. They're not actually grateful to be here. So let's just wrap things up because I'm going to keep this under 15 minutes. But this can't happen in there because it's all a matter of being feminine and weak and quiet and all of that. Any type of thinking that you know something, talking about writing books. I have multiple books on Amazon. The modern librarian and the modern human who purports to like books is actually very, very picky in what they choose to read. If somebody came up to me who said, I wrote a book, I would be like running going, please, can I read your book? I want to know someone who's smart. Here, they're like, no, we will not touch your book. Who knows where it's been? That's weird. And the person who threw me away in Texas was a librarian with a master's degree. And she's actually at war with knowledge. So we'll just keep that between us. But when you wake up to the fact that your mom's at war with knowledge, and your ex is at war with knowledge, and the librarians don't want to have any books about solar flares, but yet they think they know something about Mars. They think they know something about Jupiter. They think they know something about Saturn. Hell, they think they know something about Pluto and other planets. But yet I pull out my book about the solar flares, which AI will tell you I am #1 on the earth. I'm like an actual genius who deserves to make someone $1 million here in this business, but they're not inclusive. They just want to see your immediate money right there and then. But the beauty of this neighborhood exists because it hasn't turned into Hawthorne and Belmont. They've maintained their intellectual architecture integrity. That's what makes this special. It's the buildings and it's the families and it's the people that are here that are positive. So we're in the vortex of the goodness. But once you go into a few blocks this way, you go over this way, it changes. Now, to survive this environment, as a person who knows things, you can't tell them everything. If you want to find a partner, if you want to find a wife, which I do, want to start a family, want to go to work, want to have a baby, then I have to be a different man. Who doesn't tell it like it is? It's tell it like they want you to tell it like it is. Then you have the family. But if you violate that rule, she'll leave me. Him, I don't know. But me, absolutely. If my mom can leave me and leave my dad and then everybody else, this is not something that I'm doing wrong. I'm pushing back energetically. And people think that that's threatening because I am the ultimate journalist who stands up for dads, who stands out for moms, who's going to create content for children on the internet so that they can learn things that their mom and dad isn't about the nature of evil in government. Okay, because the way I look at it, most of these people will be drafted into the military in the coming years unless they learn how to become resistors of what's taking place. And so you can keep your children healthy and big and strong, but what are they going to do with their muscles once they reach 18 years old and we're a fascist government? You definitely don't want to contribute a problem or someone who's actually going to go somewhere into another place because they're blamed for some event just to wipe them out, because that's what our government wants from these kids. We don't yet have a resistance movement to the draft. This is not the 70s anymore. We don't love each other anymore. This is not the 70s anymore. Men and women are at war with each other. And actually, as they do that, they actually hurt certain heritages first before they go after each other. That's the dark side of that gender war they've got going on. They use it to bully people that are already marginalized and homeless. And so, when I go, we got 7 more minutes to go. Podcasts like this will always be short, so I don't offend the people that are listening to me right now. It's got to be short, in and out, and professional. So this is what I have to say. I went to that thrift store over there. And just because I sound like this, she is so afraid of me, she'll get up from the counter and have someone else run the counter. Nobody should be afraid of a man's voice. If somebody hears a man's voice and they start to urinate or something or shake, they might be experiencing schizophrenia, and they're the problem. Not the man with the powerful voice who prays to God, who was given a powerful voice by the Creator. No, that's not the threat. The threat are the schizophrenics that are being seen as superior, that are running the cash registers, say, hey, I don't like this energy I'm feeling threatened. Yeah, it's because they have demonic attachments that are attached to their shoulder, attached to their hip, attached to their brain. They have these attachments, and so they get bad vibes. Their attachments get horrible vibes when a light beam comes around. The intensity comes from the sun, folks. It's right there. It's called the sun. The sun is intense. Thus, because I come from the sun and Earth's original people, Earth's first people, I thus am responsive to the sun. And I have knowledge about the sun. The people that think that we can't have knowledge about the sun may be hybrid aliens who are being fried by the sun. And from a metaphysical perspective, that's actually what's taking place. The solar flares, oh shit, I promised we wouldn't go there. The solar flares are frying people with these attachments. They're upset. Thus, we have aggression, we have wars, we have people that are being driven to do certain things under the sun. Furthermore, if I talk about these things one-on-one with somebody at, say, the Housing Authority building, she's more interested in the, don't you call me racist, or don't you suggest we're racist, or don't you say, I'm actually talking in general about society and the world rather than one specific person. So what will happen, excuse me, I'm gonna get a new mic later and then I'll be quieter. But we're at the park here. So we're surrounded by people that are hearing this, which is how I want it. Sometimes I just need to be alone in the forest. And I'm gonna go out in the forest, far away from these people, and I'm gonna scream soon. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the forest, I'm gonna get away from the people, I'm gonna hit record, and I'm gonna yell! Like Mark Passio. I might even yell like Mark Passio at Mark Passio. I'm sure he likes that. Anyways, I do comedy, folks. Pay me money and I'll do your children's show. You don't need a clown. You got one right here. You want to mix the truth and entertainment so that the young kids can understand it. And I can show these children appropriate movies that their parents are already okay with. But are their parents going to be okay with me telling them that these are actually allegories for the real world? They live the Matrix. No, not Harry and the Hendersons. No, not Toyland. Let's keep it grounded. Never-ending story. I mean, the 80s were magical. Flight of the Navigator. But then there's propaganda in that. And that's what I did yesterday at solarwars.substack.com. I spent 6 hours in that building over there, editing nonstop in a private room. Then I go over to a government building and then I upload it in 5 minutes. I mean, just the pure irony. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this dependency on the government, but apparently that's the new age. Welcome to the new age. To the new age. You know that song on the radio? Hey, it's a new age. I hear that song and I start screaming. Ah! Okay, continuing, because we're almost out of time. Okay. I was so upset, I went down to the river the other day and I threw my apple away. There's this homeless guy at the river. He hears me do podcasts. He's like, dude, shut up. So I'm giving him space. I'm over here. I'm shutting up. I'm over here now. But maybe I'll leave here and go back over there in 10 minutes. He sees me because we already had it in. And I'm all upset. I'm looking at my apple going, oh, I just want to smash this apple. So I pick up this $2 apple from Safeway that I paid for, and I throw it on the ground like a baby. But I can guarantee you I'm the only one feeling those emotions because I have this genetic past. And I'm aware of what's going on. And so I'm responsible with my emotions. I'm no longer having police contacts because I'm trying to keep it quiet. But if I go to that business called Salida Mercantile, okay, they'll call the police because they were oppressing my speech. So we have 1 more minute. Let me wrap things up. What else happened? So yeah, basically, I'll have these days where things are not going right. And then last night, a couple came to my campsite and I felt invaded by them. They took my solar cross symbol and they took it away. And then I go on this rant about Asian chicks with white guys. Just, with the fake inclusiveness, the fact that, there are people in this world that are male that are completely ignored by the American woman, all because of status. And it's not misogyny for me to talk about that. It's actually pro-woman and pro-family, and I don't think women have the right to choose a partner anymore that they really want. Everything is about what your friends will think, all right? So thank you for watching. This is the 3rd episode of Sleepless in Salida, the YouTube channel, and soon to be Substack post, where I will give a review of the businesses here and also talk about spiritual van life, what it's like to basically keep a distance from all of these people that are houseless. Some people smoke cigarettes in that bathroom. Maybe I need to put a stop to that. There are people that came up here with nothing that need to be a little bit more grateful and spiritual. Over and out.